Did you inherit $1 million from your grandparent, or are you about to become wealthy from someone else's hard work? If you say yes to these questions, this show is not for you. You, the hardworking, committed, and ambitious professional who have a 9-to-5 corporate job or a 12-hour shift worker keeping the assembly line running. Perhaps you run your gig as a freelancer, or maybe you run a small business. You are in the right place. Welcome to the Career Evangelist Podcast, where you get your weekly tips, ideas, strategies, and inspiration to find purpose in what you do so you can build a career you are passionate about and live a fulfilled life. Here is your host, Bola Alabi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Career Evangelist Podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce another incredible guest. We have Steph. Steph is a job search strategist. She's a certified resume writer, and she's a driving force behind off-the-clock resumes. Since 2014, she has been passionately helping hundreds of job seekers at all career levels to get unstuck and land their dream roles at different companies that they love. So, with a background in human resources management and a dedication to staying at the forefront of hiring trends and technologies, Steph is not only a certified expert by the Professional Association of Resume Writers and Career Coaches. She is also an active member of the National Resume Writers Association. So if you are looking to master this job search process and navigate the digital age of job searching, you are going to want to stick with us till the end. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in my guest. Hey, Steph, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us here today. So I did a little bit of intro about you, telling my listeners what they are going to get by listening to this episode. But I also want you to tell us about yourself, what people can learn from you, and what you've been up to maybe in the past few months or so.
Absolutely. I started resume writing back in 2014 as a freelancer. I started out contracting with other larger resume writing companies and decided I wanted to go out on my own and do things a little differently. And since then, my business has really evolved. I focused on one-on-one resume services for the longest time. And now, in the last, I don't know, I'd say four or 5 years now, I've been really expanding to provide online courses and workshops, other resources, templates, worksheets to really empower job seekers to take control of their job search and have the tools they need to feel confident in, okay, this is the next step that I need to take. So I'd say in the last few months, it's kind of hard to say. I've been a first-time work-from-home mom. My daughter is going to be 2 this summer. And so to be honest, we haven't been in growth mode. We've been in let's just maintain right now and keep our sanity mode. But that being said, I have recently updated some courses and some other materials that I provide for job seekers. But that's pretty much where I've been recently.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for letting us know that. So, what's you said you have some digital courses. What are they about?
I have a resume writing workshop. I have a LinkedIn profile writing workshop. And then I have a more robust course called LinkedIn Works. And what it is a step-by-step job search plan, which outlines how to do most of the top job search strategies from LinkedIn for just 20 minutes a day, a few days a week.
Okay, I'm more curious about that because
Absolutely.
I also try to tell my listeners that LinkedIn it's a super powerful tool that people are kind of underutilizing, in my opinion. So can you walk us through the concept of using LinkedIn with the job search process?
Absolutely. I think that the majority of job seekers limit themselves to applying for jobs online and then crossing their fingers. They might follow up once with a contact, even if they don't know if that's the right contact. And then if they don't hear anything, they just kind of walk away and look for a new opportunity. But what LinkedIn can help them do is utilize other job search strategies that are far more effective than simply relying on online resume uploads and applications. They can network, they can do personal branding, they can do recruiter outreach, following up, what I call employer targeting, which is a specific type of networking that focuses less on looking for a job based on the job title and looking for a job based on what company you want to work for, and then networking within, those companies specifically. It's such a powerful tool because, this database, LinkedIn is essentially a database. It's one of the world's largest applicant tracking systems in comparison. And essentially, it's a giant pool of talent. It's a giant pool of potential candidates for job opportunities, whether they're actively looking for a job right now or they're just open to something new. So tapping into, who's using LinkedIn, that's recruiters, that's HR professionals, business owners, executives. There are so many different types of LinkedIn users. Learning how to utilize the tools that LinkedIn gives you to get in front of them and start conversations is extremely powerful.
That's so good. You mentioned several things, networking, personal branding, recruiter outreach. Now, let's take it a little bit back.
Sure.
A job seeker out there today, he wants to get on LinkedIn. What are the first 2, 3 steps that this job seeker need to take in order to start creating that visibility?
So your profile is essentially a keyword searchable profile for you. And what that means is first, you need to figure out, what are my goals? Why do I want to use LinkedIn? Do I want to find a new job opportunity? Do I just want to expand my reach within a new field or industry? Do I want to attract thought leadership opportunities, such as podcast interviews or even speaking engagement opportunities? Think about what you want to be found for, and then focus your profile on that. Your headline, your about section, your experience section, skills sections, those are the top, what we call explicit skills is where we're going to find those keywords. And when I say keywords, I'm talking about search terms that someone who is trying to find someone like you is going to use on LinkedIn to try to find you. And if you fill your profile with not just those keywords, but also the things that differentiate you from someone else in your field, that is going to optimize your resume, not just for searches and visibility, but for what I call clickability. Once you show up in search results, what's going to make them want to click on your profile and learn more about you? Right. What's going to make them want to click on the see more link on your about section or your experience section to learn more about you? You've got to think in terms of not just, am I going to show up in search results? Am I going to be visible? But then why should I give them a reason to dig in deeper?
Oh, okay. Now, you obviously you've been helping people write resume. You've been coaching them for as a career coach. Can you share maybe a bit of your story about Off the Clock resume and what inspired you to start this business?
I want to say back in 2014, I was not sure what I wanted to do for my career still. I knew I loved writing, and I didn't know how that was going to translate into, a money-making career. So I did a little bit of everything. I fell into resume writing by accident, but I was also editing manuscripts. I was creating social media content for businesses, blog posts, and I believe my business started as off the clock solutions. And then from there, I kind of migrated to, no, I'm going to focus 100% on the resume side. I enjoy it the most. I find it in my own way, formulaic. So I find it kind of easy for me to do just because of, what I've learned over the years and what I've seen work for my clients. And I kind of finesse down to resumes at that point. I want to say the off the clock title started with this dream of creating more of like an online community that would tailor to millennials, being a millennial myself, to help them with their career development and job search when they're off the clock, because that's when most job search happens, is when they're off the clock. So that was essentially the idea behind it, and I just kind of stuck with the name. It it caught on, and I decided to stick with it.
So, with your job as a resume writer and thinking about AI tools, specifically ChatGPT, I know there are some people out there, they use ChatGPT to build their resume. I guess, what's the difference between hiring an expert like you compared with just going on the tool and using it to build a resume? What's the difference?
There are several differences. You're going to get a much more human element to your resume in the sense of, I don't just pull details from a job posting to integrate into the resume. I ask my clients specific questions that are thought provoking, insightful to who they are as a professional. And I like to integrate those details into the resume as well, because that is one of the many details in personal branding that is going to separate you from other qualified applicants. Yes, you can get through ATS as a qualified candidate, but then what separates you from the other qualified candidates? Those are details that ChatGPT is not going to be able to figure out. I actually asked ChatGPT, what it thought about, should a job seeker use ChatGPT, or what are the benefits of using a resume writer? What can a resume writer do that ChatGPT can't do? And it's actually a really interesting prompt to kind of see how it explains to you, it is, ChatGPT is all for hiring a resume writer, which I find really amusing. But, I think it can be a great tool for job seekers getting started who maybe just need a little help creating, what I call a broadly targeted master resume, something that, focuses on elements that are going to be relevant for the roles they're targeting, but maybe they don't have a job posting in front of them to say, this is the job I want to tailor my resume for, but this is the role I want to start developing my resume for. I think it can be a really useful tool for that.
Okay, no, that's good. We've talked about resume, we've talked about LinkedIn. Now let's talk about maybe common mistakes that you see job seekers make, especially when they are writing their resume.
I think the perspective that everyone first learns when they're creating their first resume, whether that's, in early education or, university, I think the perspective is the resume is about you. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. If you go into writing your resume thinking it's all about you, what you can do, what you have done, you're going to miss the mark, because what a resume needs to do is say, I understand the problems that you as an employer are facing and need to resolve with this role. And I can resolve those challenges. I can tackle them. I will overcome them based on my past experience. It's a new way to look at your background and frame what you've done over the years around what someone's looking for. So I know that's a common mistake I see. Another one is trying too hard to write for robots, trying too hard to get through ATS. I know that there are a lot of tools out there for keyword optimization and trying to help job seekers get through applicant tracking systems or ATS, but I think they forget that there is still a recruiter who is going to view that, a human reader who is going to view and assess whether or not you would be a good fit for the role. And then there's also that hiring decision maker. There's multiple readers of a resume. So you can't just write for bots. You can't just write for ATS. You also have to write for the recruiter and for the hiring decision maker and what they're looking for specifically in one document. It is a balancing act. It really is.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Now, thinking about this, the job search process can be overwhelming. People maybe job seekers, they may be wondering, should I go on LinkedIn? Should I go on Indeed? Or should I go directly to the company websites? And because of this, some people don't know how to do it. That's the truth. Now, can you walk us through the process you use to help job seekers in their job search process?
I will always advocate for LinkedIn, not because I'm an affiliate or a promoter of them at all, but just because it brings so many elements of the job search into one place, one platform. And that can eliminate so much overwhelm in the process. We have access to so many tools, and all of a sudden you've got this arsenal of apps and software programs that are supposed to help you with these different things. It can become very time consuming and overwhelming for someone. So when I recommend LinkedIn, it's for the ease and it's for the simplicity of you can do all these things in one place. But I don't see anything wrong with applying on the company page itself. I see nothing wrong with applying on Indeed other than often Indeed is going to take you to the company website to apply, and LinkedIn does the same. There are LinkedIn apply buttons that take you to the company website. But here's what LinkedIn has that Indeed doesn't necessarily have. When you apply on LinkedIn and it takes you off LinkedIn to apply on the company website, it gives you the option to notify the person who posted the job for the company that you've applied. And so even if you are taken offline, you're touching base with someone on LinkedIn who is actively using LinkedIn because they have to for posting the job and looking at candidates. And it's letting them know, hey, I'm interested in this role. And then it gives you a touch point to start. Often those jobs on LinkedIn have the job poster listed, so you can contact them after. This is adding that human level, that human interaction back to the job search that I think a lot of people are missing because they feel like it's also automated, it's also, just online, and there's that element of human interaction that's missing, and LinkedIn can bring a lot of that back.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You talked about human interaction, which I think is very essential. Let's relate that to LinkedIn. How can I use that? And I think you also mentioned recruiter outreach.
Mhm.
How can we, a job seeker, properly leverage that human connection, human interaction to land their dream role?
So I just got an email from a new client that I'm just starting the process of working with. And she's so frustrated because she feels like she's being ghosted or ignored by anyone she's trying to reach out to on LinkedIn, by email. So I asked her, I said, hey, send me some of these interactions, take screenshots. I just want to see how you're approaching this person and what you're saying. And she had several that were really, really good. They were very conversational. They were short. I think that is key. But she also had some that were fairly lengthy. They looked like a cover letter in the body of the email as the first point of contact. And I can understand why in her mind she's thinking, well, that might be what makes the difference between whether or not I get an interview. When you go into recruiter outreach and you go into networking efforts, your first thought is not to get an interview. Your first thought needs to be, I want to turn this business contact into a professional friendship. And if you go into it that way, thinking, how do I get to know this person? What are their challenges? How can I potentially help them with these challenges? Even if I'm not a good fit for the role they're trying to fill, maybe I know someone in my network who would be a better fit. So coming to interactions as mutually beneficial, not just out for yourself. I'm out for a job. I'm out for an interview. Look at my resume. Tell me if I'm a good fit. But starting with, I'm expanding my network on LinkedIn. I noticed X, Y, and Z similarities on your profile to my profile. I'd love to learn more about what it's like to work at this company. I'd love to learn more about how you got into the role that you've been holding for 5 years. Take the approach of getting to know someone, even if, yes, your end goal is self-serving, but start it that way because,
No doubt.
again, professional friendships is the end goal.
That's right. That's right. It's funny that you mentioned cover letter. What role do cover letters play in the job application process? And do you recommend customizing cover letters for each application? How do you go about that?
So there's a common misconception that recruiters read cover letters. The cover letters are actually for the hiring manager, the hiring decision maker, who already knows that you're qualified, but trying to figure out why you should be considered over someone else. So I actually take a very different approach to cover letter writing than many in my field do. I take the approach of it shouldn't focus on why you're the best fit for the job, but why you're the best fit for the team and the company as a whole. So I do recommend tailoring it towards the company's mission, vision, values, the industry challenges, not just, the goals of this particular role, but the industry challenges in general. And really creating something that, again, gives them a reason to want to learn more about your background. So, drawing connections to your background, drawing connections to your resume, but not emphasizing what you've already explained on your resume. It really should be a valuable addition to your application package, not just something that reiterates what's already been said elsewhere.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for sharing that. So, what are your thoughts on personal branding and how can we use that in the job search process?
Personal branding is, I found a definition once, and I'm not going to repeat it because I'll butcher it. I just know it. But the definition had something to do with it's all about presenting yourself as credible, an authority, and in some way to advance you in your career or something like that. So essentially, what I look at it as is you need to narrow down the top 3 to 4 things that you want to be known for. Those can be work related, they can be non-work related. Maybe you're passionate about certain volunteer or causes that are really important to you, and then you tailor all of the content that you put out there around those 3 or 4 things. So whether that's sharing tips or insights or articles on LinkedIn that share your insights in your industry or your field, or sharing updates on organizations that you're involved in that you're really passionate about, I think that is what really shows people online. So this is what this person's about. This is what this person is going to bring to the table, whether that's a philanthropic side, or whether that's someone who's really passionate about education and continuing education. It's really important to think in terms of not just work, not just expertise. Yes, that can be one of the points, but it shouldn't be everything, because you yourself are not your career. You yourself are not the job that you hold. That's just a piece of who you are. And so adding in these other elements humanizes you and makes you more inviting on not just LinkedIn for networking, but even at networking events and networking opportunities off of LinkedIn. It's going to make you more approachable.
Yeah, that's good. Networking. Let's talk about how to network effectively, because some of these words, personal branding, networking, if care is not taken, they will just become like words that people just throw out. They don't really know the meaning or the impact or how to do them. So maybe you can share with us how to network effectively, especially when looking for new opportunities.
I can share from personal experience. I hate going to networking events. I
Yeah.
absolutely hate them. I am the most introverted. And for being the face of my business, I really am very introverted. And so I hated going to networking events, and I felt very uncomfortable. I had the same list of icebreakers that everybody had in front of them. And so I didn't enjoy it because I didn't feel like I was getting anything out of it. It wasn't until I started joining trade and professional associations and started networking more strategically that I started really enjoying it. And LinkedIn helps in the sense that, if you're introverted like me, there is some strength and confidence behind a screen. So being able to comment on someone's post or reply to a message, it doesn't feel as, you know, icky or as, uncomfortable, I guess, as say being face to face with someone you don't know, and trying to come up with, good questions to ask or making it sound more natural. I think a lot of people go into, networking opportunities and they freeze up and they're like, am I asking the right questions? Do I look like I know what I'm talking about. And so making it a little bit more light and conversational helps. But when I joined the NRWA, the National Resume Writers Association, I went to my first industry conference and I was around competitors that became colleagues, and they became a referral network and mentors. And it was such a different look at networking for myself. So I really encourage anyone who struggles with networking, start there. Even if it's an investment, at paying membership dues, it's an investment in your career growth. And it is so worth it because it's going to open so many doors for you, not just with networking and mentoring, but also with training opportunities. So there are some value, or I should say there's a lot of value to starting strategic with your networking instead of just jumping in and hoping you're going to get a response, because you might find yourself very disappointed and give up faster than you should.
Okay, that's so good. So we should be strategic. We should see it as conversation and trying to build that relationship with the people, not just thinking about the transaction. That's what I'm hearing from you. Thank you for sharing that, Steph. As we are wrapping it up, I want to ask, maybe there are people out there, they want to come work with you so that you can help them with their job search, but they are curious about the process. They want to know, is it going to be your digital course that you are going to sell to them, or you are going to have one-on-one coaching with them? Can you give us more details about that?
I have several different options for working with clients. I think it ultimately depends on how much hands-on help they want and how much guidance that they want to do it themselves. Because often, when you're working one-on-one with a professional, you're at the mercy of their schedule and your own schedule. So then you feel a little bit more time crunched. Whereas when you're doing it yourself or with some guidance, you have some flexibility with time. So I've had clients reach out to me saying, I have a job I want to apply for in 2 days. I'm not going to be able to meet that timeline. I'm sorry. However, if you want to go through my workshop and polish up your resume, my resume writing workshop, resume rescue workshop, it has a feature where you can upload your resume when you're done. I review it, I give you feedback, I polish it up for you, I make minor edits. So you're still getting help from me in a faster way than my done-for-you one-on-one services, which can take weeks to collect the information, to start from scratch and develop everything for you, from your personal brand to value positioning strategy. All of that I work with you on, and it takes time. So I think ultimately, if you go to my website, offtheclockresumes.com, there's a lot of options. There's work with me one-on-one over time to prepare yourself for a job search. And then there are, some smaller services to get quick feedback. There's the courses that dive deep on your time frame to really learn the best practices and I keep these updated. Like I said, I just updated the LinkedIn Works course because there's been so many updates to the recruiter side of the LinkedIn platform. And I want to make sure that, job seekers know exactly what they're seeing on their end so that you can make smart choices for how you're using LinkedIn during your job search. So there's definitely a lot of options. I even have a quiz on my website to determine, what's keeping them stuck and the best way to resolve that. So there's definitely some options, and they can always reach out to me on LinkedIn and by email as well, which I believe my contact is on my website, and ask me themselves, and we can figure it out.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to make sure that I leave all your links in my show notes so that
Awesome.
my listeners can reach out to you if they need that help. Now, rapid fire questions.
Oh boy.
What's your go-to resume font?
Oh shoot, what's it called? Source Sans Pro.
Okay, good. LinkedIn headline, keep it short and sweet or detailed?
Utilize those 220 characters. Use them all up.
Cover letter, always include or only when necessary?
Only when specifically asked, or if you have something to explain, like you're missing a qualification or you're completely changing careers.
In your opinion, AI in recruitment, friend or foe?
Friend.
Friend. Okay, that's good. I like that. Best time of the day to apply for jobs?
Anytime. Just do it.
Anytime. Anytime. Just do it.
Just do it.
Finally, one piece of advice for someone that is looking for a job. Maybe he's tired. Maybe he's not getting calls. Maybe this person has been applying, but is not getting interviewed. What do you have to say to them?
Take a break, make a plan, and stick to it.
And that's where we are heading today. Thank you very much, Steph. It's been fun having you. I enjoyed this episode, and I'm sure my listeners, they will find this beneficial. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.